Hi, I'm Milena and welcome to another weekly update. Since we spoke last, I have finished 3 books and continued 1 and started 0. Can you imagine? It's very much time at the end of this video to pick my next read. I also have quite a big live update, but I'll keep that to the end of the update. The live update concludes with a big box of books that is sitting in front of me that I will also show you. My weekly updates are always chaptered in the description, so if there are parts that you're just not that interested in, just skip to the next chapter. I have finished the last book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I am incredibly pleased that I finished this. I don't know how I really feel about it because Lord of the Rings is such a complex fantasy that I don't know if I could even review the books after reading it one time. I feel like these are the kind of fantasy novels that you read a second time and a third time and then you get a true grasp on them and are able to really review them. So far I can say that I am mesmerized by Tolkien's writing. I equal parts enjoy it and am confused by it. The audiobooks by Andy Serkis are wonderful and a true great addition to your reading experience. The only thing that I don't love what Andy Serkis does, it is very fitting, but I don't always love it when narrators get incredibly expressive, which of course Andy Serkis is a wonderful actor, so anytime he does Gollum or he does more troll-like characters, his expressions become very intense and loud and not always very pleasant to listen to. Him singing is wonderful because there are always not a lot in the last book, but some snippets of songs which I really enjoyed. I am going to listen to the appendices. Oh, I said it right the last time. I feel like there are 2 and I just started listening to the first one. If it would be a part of a modern fantasy, we would call it info dumpy. Maybe it's heresy to say that about Tolkien. It's not like a regular epilogue that you would race through. I think it's like 250 pages. So I will listen to those at my own pace whenever I feel like it. So that is one book I finished. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars. It's definitely not my favorite. I think book 2 or book 1 is my favorite. I'm not entirely sure. It's been such a while since I read it. The third book is very much wrapping everything up, and there was a part that I had never seen in the films towards the ending that I felt very upset by. And I messaged some of my Hobbit friends and I told them I'm so upset by what Tolkien has done here that I had to buy a new pair of dungarees that would have me accepted in the Shire. So I got an olive green pair of dungarees, basically saying that I was thinking about getting a new pair of dungarees because I sold an old one on Vinted and I wasn't sure yet which color I wanted, and I was like, alright, what would get me accepted in the Shire? So I went for the olive green. And then a book that was a 5-star prediction the last time I talked to you ended up being a 3.5, which was so disappointing. This is Let's Make a Scene. If you didn't watch last week's video, this is a contemporary romance about 2 actors who have a second chance romance, do a series of fake dating and are doing a sequel of their first film that they made over a decade ago. I would say this is a great novel in itself. If this was general fiction, I think it could still have been a 5-star for me. The plot is well paced, the motivations of the characters are realistic, great side characters I have to say, I love them, which is always such a plus for me in general fiction. But when I got to about the 60% point of this book, the romance started taking over because of course this is a romance novel. As soon as the romance took over, it lost all its credibility for me. The commitment between these characters, so the romance portion of this book, was so delayed, which I enjoyed because it read like a general fiction. It went from that constant delay to out of the sudden disconnection. And it didn't feel earned, and I didn't see the build up very well, and it didn't feel credible, it didn't feel memorable. These characters became from having their very distinct own personalities to just 2 random characters in a romance, and I was really disappointed by this. But because I love the general fiction part of this book so much, I'm not gonna give it a 2. I'm gonna stay with a 3.5. So if you picked this up last week on my recommendation, I do apologize because this is not like the romance that you're looking for. But I spent the weekend just reading a romance physically. Will this become a new habit of mine? Maybe. I read Winging It With You by Chip Bonds. I chose this book because I saw a really great reel about it on Instagram, and yes, I am so easily influenced by good marketing for romance, especially when it's a visual representation of characters. You get me very easily. I got this for the Buzzwordathon because the cover prompt of this month was to get something that has transportation on the cover, and we have one plane here and another plane there, and one of the main characters is also a pilot. This follows two guys, I think they're in their late 20s, but their age is a bit vague or I just kind of missed it. But we follow Asher, the blonde guy, who has signed up to a reality competition TV show together with his boyfriend, and when they get to the airport, his boyfriend dumps him, but he very much still wants to take part in the competition because he wants to use the prize money to start a charity. When he's waiting for his flight, he sees two pilots sitting together. One of the pilots starts a conversation with him. They make a bet. The pilot loses the bet and he has to go on this competition with this man. He has his own motivations to not wave it off and to agree to it. He is overworked, he needs time off, and he needs to prove to his employer as well that he takes his work-life balance seriously, so that he doesn't become a liability. This is really freaking cute. The thing I may have loved most about this book is it's the second novel by the author, and I feel like the author has so much love for these characters and so much love for this book. You can just feel how the author poured so much love and attention into this book, and I don't think that's always the case with romance novels, but this book, it just made me connect and care so much because of the way that the book was written. Plot in this book was so incredibly fun. So we have this competition and we get some of the challenges in a competition as well. It's like not super repetitive, you don't get everything that they do, but things that matter to the characters and to their dynamic and to character building, like to see where both Asher and Theo's talents lie. I found it really interesting in seeing how they do those challenges and how they kind of interact with people who are also competing with them. So the plot was really exciting, and of course it's the kind of competition where they travel a lot, so all the challenges are in different countries. So travel is like a really big part of this book, but I also found it just really fun and really adventurous, and the book was incredibly fast paced. Like, it's quite a big romance, but the book was very fast paced because of that. I also think we don't have enough own voices gay romance, so very happy to support this book because of that. There were two things that I didn't love as much about this book. The first one was that this is a dual POV, but the characters' voices were too similar. I had to go back to see who was actually talking in the book. You're not supposed to do that if you have a dual POV. The way that the inner monologue works, it should be very clear who we're following. The book would have been stronger if it was a single POV writing wise, but then I found it very valuable to have the knowledge and the POVs from both characters. So while the plot was very fast paced, there were some time jumps and just a lot of jumps in locations, which I found sometimes a little bit hard to follow, but then I also quite like it if we don't get a lot of filler in a book. So I'm not sure how I felt about that, but if you don't really like fast-paced books, I don't think you will love this, because then you will get very, I think, annoyed with all the time jumps. Overall, I gave this a 4.25. Just a little bit higher than 4 stars because I enjoyed it so much, and these characters will definitely stay with me. Theo and Asher are part of my heart, and I can't say that with every romance I read. I love these two. Right, let's head on to my current reads. I have read only a few more chapters of Women Who Run With Wolves. I don't know why I didn't stick to the schedule for this one. I mainly wanted to finish The Return of the King. I don't feel super motivated to keep on reading this, but there's like this voice in my head that's like, you've committed to this. You always say you want to read more feminist nonfiction from history, so actually do it. Yeah, we're still working on that. And then I am halfway through Rules of the Heart, and I'm still not convinced about this one. I've read some reviews, and the more negative reviews, like, I agree with all of them. This main character, it's all about her affair. She's annoying. Like, she's so whiny. I heavily dislike characters who create their own problems. And yes, she had a difficult marriage in the early years and her husband was very unkind. But as soon as her husband kind of wants to fix things, she refuses. Which also, like, from a modern perspective, like, good for you. You don't have to forgive abusive behavior. But then the thing that it will cost her is her children. If she doesn't, I don't think that's a big enough argument for her, because she's more about, oh, I don't want to embarrass my mother and my family and everything. And I'm like, how about the fact that if you behave a certain way and your husband divorces you, you lose your children? Like, maybe that's argument enough, but apparently it's not. So I'm a little bit annoyed with this main character, and I've thought of DNFing this one, but I love the author so much that I don't think I can DNF this. I don't think I can do it. Live update time. I think I did tell you that July was a bit of a tough month for me. Just for my family in general, a lot of very difficult things happen. Gaining perspective from things like that help you to make decisions that you probably should have made earlier. One of those decisions for me is that I wanted to say goodbye to the shop. I have had it now for over a year and a half, almost 2 years. And I knew that 2025 would probably be the last year I would do it. But I was starting to think about what it was costing me and the stress it was giving me, and whether or not I had the ability to turn it into what I really wanted it to be, including getting all sorts of new skills that would help me get there, that would make the shop a feasible thing. And I realized that I didn't. It was time for me to do something new, that this is a chapter I can now close. I wish I hadn't had to, and that I would have had certain skills to make the shop what it needed to be and what it needed to grow. And chronic illness is a big part of it as well, because a lot of things I wasn't able to do was because of chronic illness. Part of me, of course, wishes that I could have used this business that I had and grow it and turn it into something profitable, feasible, manageable, whatever you want to call it. But the thing is that, at least as of right now, I don't. So I've decided to close it. And while I'm sad and while it's bittersweet to see all the books and bookish goodies disappear because there's like a giant sale going on, 50% off of books, it's an insane sale, so of course it's going really, really well. The shop is almost empty. I think when I'm filming this there's probably barely anything left. I'm not shipping to the US anymore, by the way, so I'm sorry if you're from the US and you still wanted to get something. But yeah, that's happening right now. So of course I've made that decision and I feel a lot of peace with it, while also sadness, of course. It's always sad to say goodbye to something. It was the right decision and I feel good about it, because now so much space is freed up for this, which I love, for reading, for family, for actually making time to take care of myself, to take care of my loved ones, which is all just really, really needed right now. I do always have that fear of how feminism and equality works financially, work-wise, income-wise. So saying goodbye to something like that is difficult for me. But in all honesty, I don't really feel like talking about it that much. So we're gonna leave it here, including a big thank you to everyone who has been involved in one way or another. Thank you. But that did mean I am closing all things down, including my Bookshopper account with my distributor. And I could not do that without getting a good chunk of my wish list. A box of books. Some of these are just editions of favorite books that I listened to on audio and I never just got an edition from, which always felt like way too indulgent to actually buy them. But now I felt like, you know what? It's not. This is the last chance to get them for a reseller price and I'm doing it. Like, if I'm paying myself, I'm paying myself. Also some new books that I wanted to get, so I'll show you that little book haul. Right, so let's start with this beautiful edition of To the Lighthouse. I saw a reel of someone who is collecting all sorts of editions of their favorite book. Should I do that? But with To the Lighthouse? Because To the Lighthouse is my favorite book of all time. I've read it 4 times. I think, oh gosh, I don't even know. This is a beautiful edition. It's still in its plastic. Maybe I won't even get it out, so it will stay perfect forever. No, I will, because you can see it on the spine. It's not very pretty. So these are the Penguin Vitae. Oh, I don't know how you say that. Editions. I think I ordered also one from In the Time of the Butterflies by Julia Alvarez, which is also one of my favorite 20th century books. But yeah, I got this beautiful edition of To the Lighthouse. Last weekly update, I showed you my birthday book haul and I showed you the Jane Austen editions Boy Got Me. And I got Pride and Prejudice and Emma as well. So now they can all live together. I got them right now because I think they're temporary editions and the idea of just not having 2 in the collection and them not being printed anymore was quite heartbreaking. So yeah, I got these 2 as well. I got 2 cloth bound editions. It's been a while since I bought these, but also of favorite books. I got one of Villette by Charlotte Bronte. I have a lot of beautiful Bronte editions, but my Bronte shelf is a little bit empty and I only have the paperback edition of Villette actually read. Oh no, I'm lying. I also have the Everyman's Library edition. Oopsie. I have the cloth bounds and the English Library, the Penguin English Library editions downstairs on display above the sofa, and there's like this beautiful dusty pink that I painted the wall and it works so well with these colors. Also got Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell. I'm assuming this also has some short stories. I just love this aggressive green and I love Cranford. This is a book I got for 2 reasons. One reason is that I saw Books and Lala use it for a vlog and it looked so fun. Secondly, it's because of who's on the cover. Do we recognize her? Of course you do. This is Toni Morrison and this book is called Buzzworthy. Cocktails inspired by female literary greats. I am a big alcohol drinker, so I will replace the alcohol with other things. But I just love the idea of this. We have the Emily Dickinson, which is, it's called like literally the Emily Dickinson. Is that how everything works? The Mary Shelley. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this book. And I'm sure we can make a TBR out of this at some point. Then I have How to Be a Victorian by Ruth Goodman. I have seen some YouTube things by Ruth Goodman. I am very influenced to buy books based on social media and YouTube. Like, it works so well on me. And this is all about how to be a Victorian. I don't know anything else about it. I would want to say I want to read this for October, but that's probably unrealistic. Again, an Instagram friend recommended this to me. This is Theory and Practice by Michelle de Quester. And this is, I think, a semi-fiction novel about Virginia Woolf. It's about a young woman who researched Virginia Woolf in the 80s. The advice from someone who knows me and seeing Virginia Woolf on the cover was all I really needed to know. A modern classic I've been meaning to read for a while but just haven't gotten to it yet is Season of Migration to the North, An Arabian Nights in Reverse, powerfully and poetically written. This is a classic I want to read from around the world, and this is from Sudan. I have A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, and if you're asking me, Milena, I thought you didn't like Charles Dickens. Maybe not, but that doesn't mean I'm giving up, and like, excuse me. And this one isn't very big. I'm very curious about Charles Dickens writing historical fiction. So I think this is set during the French Revolution in France and during the same time in England. So it vividly depicts a revolutionary Paris running red with blood and a London where the poor starve. Since reading Little by Edward Carey, I have a new fascination for the French Revolution. Not necessarily that I think about it in a very philosophical or political way. I feel like that was such a big part of my education. Like, I get it. I just think I'm very interested in the people who lived there and the general culture that's experienced by the people living through it, not necessarily looking at like the big names. A book trilogy that took me so long to get because of the simple fact that the last book in the series wasn't published in the same format as the other two. So you only have the hardback and a giant paperback. Finally, I got the whole series and they work together. Did I want the hardbacks for all of them? Yes, but they have been sold out for so long. I don't think they're getting reprinted because the series is not that popular. I just settled for something that matches. The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper and book 2 and 3. This is my favorite historical fiction series. Like, point blank, it is. I love it so much and I know I will reread it. I listen to all audiobooks, which are wonderful, but I definitely want them on my shelves. I do believe I ordered more than this, but some books take longer to get in. I guess this book haul kind of compensates the sadness of closing down the shop, so I just allowed myself to do this. We are in the midst of August. We're in the second half of August. Have I read anything for Women in Translation Month? No. I don't know why. I just kind of went with the flow. But now that I have finished Lord of the Rings and I finished some other books, I am definitely going to be reading for Women in Translation Month. I've already decided to take the theme into September, and the first one I'm going to read, so what I'm going to start reading today, is The Housekeeper and the Professor. I feel like something gentle. Most of the books I picked for Women in Translation Month are angry women, which I love, but I wanted something gentle and I think this is it. So hopefully I can review this for you next week. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to leave your thoughts on anything I have said, whether that's reading wise, life update wise, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to answer it. For now, I hope you have a lovely day and I'll see you next week. Doei!